Yo, what's going on, family? Welcome back to another video. As always, I'm not the wisest dude on this app, but I do got a little game to give. And today that game is going to be the 8 worst mistakes people tend to make in their 20s. Let's get to it. Mistake number 1. I feel like this is one a lot of people struggle with. All of these are, but you know, this is one of them ones, and that is taking on a lot of unnecessary debt. You get what I mean? A lot of unnecessary debt, whether that's a car payment, you know what I mean, that you don't need and that possibly you can't afford, or whether it's credit card debt. And I get it, you know what I mean? You hear all these things about credit, but you don't hear exactly what your credit utilization should be, or what you should, how you should do this with credit, or how you should do that. You know what I mean? But all you're hearing is, oh yeah, credit this, credit that. So you're 18, you get the credit score, you know what I mean? These different credit card companies start sending you mail and emails and pre-approval offers, and oh yeah, you can get this. It's a scam. You know what I mean? It really is a scam. They're loan sharking. You get what I mean? They gonna give you the $2,000 credit card limit fresh out of high school, and they're hoping you can't pay all of that back by the next month's statement date. You know what I mean? So then that 35% interest you signed off on can start accruing and accruing and accruing and accruing, and then you never pay that back. And now you're wondering why the credit card that you took out and maxed out at 18, you're wondering why you're still paying that same payment when you're 25, 26, 27. You know what I mean? Same for a car. These car dealerships make commission. They want you to leave in a vehicle. You know what I mean? They want to get you out of there in a new vehicle, and the most expensive vehicle you can qualify for. You know what I'm saying? So if you like me, if you started working a lot young, you started making a decent amount of money young, you have the money, but you might not have the knowledge on what to do with the money, right? So you go into a car dealership, maybe you should buy a $10,000, $11,000, $12,000 car, some reliable, something like that. But no, once again, if you like me, you want the fast car, you want the car that's $45,000, $50,000 with the $750, $800, $900 car note. You know what I mean? Because you can afford it at the time. But the whole thing is, even though you afford it, should you buy it? You know what I mean? And the answer is usually 9 times out of 10, no. You get what I mean? But people do that, and then that sets them way further back. Because now you bought a 2023 Dodge Challenger, you know what I mean? Your car payment is $800, $850 a month, when you could have bought a nice newer Honda Civic. You know what I'm saying? Car payment could have been $350, $400. And now you saving almost $5,000 a year straight off that. You know what I mean? That's one of the biggest mistakes I see people making in their 20s. And it killed me because I did it too. You know what I mean? I did it too. And I see how all them payments start impacting you. And although it might be cool now, although you might be able to afford it now, you're so young that you might want to change careers. And now what you want to do now, maybe you ain't making as much. You know what I mean? Or maybe, again, you're young. Maybe you did something that's not the smartest thing. Now you got to bump your head. Now you lose that job. The economy go down. You know what I mean? All these things to where you can't pay this car note back. You get what I'm saying? You can't pay these car payments, or you can only pay the bare minimum, which is what they want you to do. And now you turn $1,000 credit max out into the minimum monthly payment for 10, 15 years. You get what I mean? Mistake number 1. Don't do that. Moving on to the second worst thing you can do in your 20s. And before y'all get mad at me, bro, I'm not saying, oh yeah, look at your baby as a burden, or this or that, or that and this. But the second mistake I see people making is procreating. And I get it, you know what I mean? We're adults, we all like having sex, you know what I mean? It's fun. But the problem with having sex is what could come with that. You know what I mean? And I get it, babies are beautiful. Reproducing is a beautiful thing, but in your early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, in your 20s period, when you're trying to build a foundation, when you're trying to get stable, a baby will make it harder for that to happen. For some people, a baby or babies make it impossible for that to happen. I've seen it happen with friends. I've definitely seen it happen with family. That stuff been happening my whole life. I'm pretty sure y'all whole life too. You see it, but people still repeat these cycles. You know what I mean? You got your whole life ahead of you, and you have ample opportunity to become exactly who you want to be. But the baby can set you back. You know what I mean? You get two people, the same life, the same plans after high school. They get out, they start getting good paying jobs, and then one of them have a baby. And then these people meet 10 years later, and more often than not, I'm talking about statistically speaking, don't get mad at me, the person who didn't have the baby, who had more individual time to themselves to figure out what they want to do, to figure out how to do it, to have less amount of expenses as the one who decided to reproduce, they tend to be further. And I'm not saying having a baby will prevent you from reaching that finish line, but having the baby will delay it a little bit. More often than not, 9 times out of 10. The fourth mistake that I see a lot of people, even beyond their 20s, even 30, 40, 50s, but I'm talking about more so foundational years, is needing instant gratification. Oh, I see this, I like this, I need to get this now. Not thinking about necessarily your priorities or responsibilities, but only thinking about, oh, this will make me feel good in this moment. This will make me feel good, so I should buy this. Even though my rent is due, and if I buy this, I'm gonna be eating ramen noodles and peanut butter and jelly for the next 2 weeks till I get paid. Even though that'll happen, I see this, I need this, I'm gonna go ahead and grab it. That kills us, man. That kills us. And then you got companies like Afterpay and Klarna benefiting off of that, because they know that you can't afford this stuff, but you want this stuff. You feel like you need this stuff, and then they say, okay, 4 payments and it's yours. You know what I mean? And the example I like to give to people is, it's like when you was younger, whether you boy or girl, we all used to like to play with toys. You know what I mean? It's a toy that you dreamt about. You finally get the toy, you play with it for a little minute, and then what? After a week, 2 weeks, a month, it get boring and you want another one. That stuff never stops happening. You know what I mean? It's human nature. It's inside all of us. Is that need for instant gratification is just that. Instantly, you're full of gratification. Like, instantly, you're happy because of that. But happiness with something like that doesn't last forever. And people don't understand that, and they spend money or spend time or spend energy on things towards that just will never pay out. And that's not even just financially, but like instant gratification with, oh yeah, you're on a journey of self-discovery, right? Like, you just want to be by yourself. You're trying to learn how to be alone. Maybe you're trying to journal. Maybe you're trying to spend more time with family. And then that toxic ex come back around and they say, look, man, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I miss you. Do you miss me? Y'all end up doing what y'all doing. Instant gratification in that point too. You know what I mean? It's all the same context, different cases. You know what I'm saying? And usually, again, I love that number. 9 times out of 10, the instant gratification not gonna work out for you in the long run. And what you're doing with that instant gratification, that need for it, is building up bad habits. But we'll talk about that later. The next big mistake I see people making in their 20s is, and it correlates directly with the last one, kind of, not saving enough money. And I get it. You know, something new come out, you wonder whether it's shoes, whether it's a game. You know, maybe you want to go outside a lot with your friends. You want to go to the clubs, to the bars. You want to buy Don Julio, put the bottle over your head. All that good stuff. But when you get to looking at your savings account, it's looking a little low. And you thinking, man, where did this money go? Man, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about that financially? And that all boils down to you're not saving enough money. And I get, like, if you stick around long enough on my channel, you're going to realize I talk a lot about financial things. And that's because although everything isn't about money, more often than not, we live in America. So, like, this being a capitalistic society, a lot of stuff is about money. You know what I mean? Even like your mental health usually is directly correlated with money. You know what I mean? Are you happier after you get paid and you know you got a little fun money to spend? Or are you happier when you spend all of your money and you gotta wait 2 weeks until you get paid again? And now you got these bills coming up. You get what I'm saying? You gotta figure it out. But you have to save enough. You know what I mean? And the enough number is subjective to each individual person. You know what I mean? My saving enough might be different than yours. You know what I mean? We got different expenses, but you need to figure out a budget, figure out a plan, and you know what I mean, map all those things out. Because although it feels, you know, I know like the whole YOLO thing, you only live once, but you sit back and although you was once 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, you gonna wake up one day, you're gonna be 35, 36. You know what I mean? It's gonna be, and you gonna be like, damn, I want to buy a house. You know what I mean? You're gonna be like, damn, I want to start investing in stocks, or oh man, you know, I want to start this business. But you check, once again, you check the savings account and there's no money there. Like there's nothing there. Zero, zilch, empty. You get what I mean? For some people, and I'm not player hating, it might be a negative balance in that savings account. You know what I mean? Let's keep it real. You have to save. You know what I mean? And once again, everything isn't about money. Everything is not about money. But we being real, money make a lot of stuff easier. Real talk. The next mistake I see people making, and this is important because this is a video about the worst mistake people make in their 20s. Right after 20 is 30. But the problem with that is people think that 30 is super old and that they need to have everything figured out by then. That's not true. And I know I'm super young. I have years and years until I'm 30. But 30 isn't too old to figure stuff out. The greatest people we've ever had that walk this earth figure things out far after 30. You know what I mean? You don't have to have everything figured out. But I would suggest you to have a decent foundation built to fly past your 30s, to enjoy your 30s. You get what I mean? A lot of people party, drink, sleep with people, and just kill their whole 20s. You know what I mean? And then they have nothing to show for it. You know what I'm saying? But 30 ain't too old, bro. You can figure, you can do all that stuff, and although if you do all that stuff, you ain't gonna just be all free spirit in your 30s. You still gonna have to work. You can still make something happen. I just preach to anybody I know, love, care about, anybody that listens to me, that and this is my mantra, you work away your 20s. You know what I mean? I don't mean, you know, oh yeah, just don't have no social time, nothing like that. Don't be weird. But you work as much as possible in your 20s because your body start to get tired. You know what I mean? Like as you age, you want to do all this while you're young. And then your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, you enjoy the fruits of your labor. You get what I mean? But you fresh out of high school, you got to get it together to get to that point. You don't just go from this and go to that. So many people got the twisted mindset that that's how that works. But bro, it ain't never worked like that. For 99.85% of people, it ain't never worked like that. You got to actually put the work in and then benefit off of everything that you did before. And that's why I say work your 20s, chill for the rest. If you play your cards right, and it's possible. I'm setting myself up to where that's going to be the case. You know what I mean? It's possible for anybody. I'm not nobody special by any means. But if you don't figure it out in your 20s, which most likely you're not, but if you don't build a solid foundation, 30 ain't too late, 40 ain't too late, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45 ain't too late. You'll figure it out, but it will make it easier. That takes us to the next biggest mistake I see a lot of people making. And this is my time to be vulnerable. You know, I struggle with this as well. And that is ignoring the wrong flags in people. And I'm talking more specifically with dating. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you start talking to somebody, you start dating somebody, you start spending a lot of time with somebody in a romantic way, you meeting their representative at first. You know what I mean? But everybody, or most people, unless you're a sociopath, show signs of some kind of red flag that you know won't be beneficial for a long-term situation with you. You get what I mean? But you liking other aspects of that person. You weren't thinking like, oh, I could ignore these red flags. They can constantly get worse, and I could just throw away 6-7 years of my life with somebody who I'll hate at the end. You know what I mean? People don't think like that. And again, me being vulnerable, I struggle with thinking like that too. Like I'm nowhere near perfect, especially when it comes to this. You know what I mean? I ignore red flags because I like people. I do. You know what I mean? It's just we're human. You know what I mean? We ain't perfect. We ain't never gonna be perfect. But certain people go past the ignoring red flags part to just so they can rush into situations, or just because they can't be alone, or because they crave relationships. And some people even end up marrying those people. You know what I mean? So some people rushing into these relationships, ignoring all these red flags, just to destroy their mental health at the end, to destroy their emotional health at the end. For a lot of people, their financial stability at the end, because they decide to give all this time, energy, and consistency to a person who's not worth it. A person who's not worth it. And you see that so much, especially with the younger generation that I'm in. You know what I mean? Everything, we completely undervalue ourselves, our time, and our energy. You can't give yourself, your time, your energy to somebody who you really, if you think about it, know that that won't be there long term. Get them out of here. Get them out of here, and it's gonna benefit you way more. You might be like, man, but I like that he do this. I like that she do that. Or I like that when it's good, it's like this, even though when it's bad, it's like this. No, and I'm not saying just throw somebody away because of anything, but you have to be able to sit back and reflect on situations and be like, okay, this is for me and this is not for me. It's too much of this, and that gotta be a deal breaker. It's okay to be alone, bro, or sis. It's okay. It's okay to not be in a relationship. It's okay to not sleep with this person. It's okay to do all this because once again, you can't rush to give your time, energy, and love to somebody who doesn't deserve it. And that is by far one of the biggest mistakes I see young people making in their 20s, older people in their 30s, 40s, 50s. People just constantly make that. But in our age range, it's dangerous because this is the time where we're supposed to be figuring stuff out. It's hard to figure that out when we're undervaluing ourselves. Almost done with the list, y'all. I promise. The next thing that I see a lot of people in their 20s doing that is terrible for them is building up unhealthy habits. You know what I mean? And that's unhealthy habits, whether it's, drug addictions or porn addictions or sex addictions, or with me, it's gambling. You know what I mean? I got a gambling issue that I just love to scratch. You know what I'm saying? I win some, I lose some. But that's just mine. But no matter what, all those things I said are unhealthy. You know what I mean? Again, gambling addictions, drinking addictions, porn addictions, sex addictions, drug addictions. All of this is bad. You know what I mean? And people might say, oh yeah, I just do this every now and then, or I just do that every now and then. But you gotta remember how easily influenced people in our age group are. You know what I mean? All of our cognitive skills aren't fully intact yet. And I'm speaking scientifically. I'm not like attacking nobody. Like we aren't all the way there. Even though we feel like, oh yeah, we grown, this is that. I do too. But I also know that I'm more easily influenced than I will be 10 years from now, or I will be 20 years from now, and so on and so on. You know what I mean? But like if you build an unhealthy habit at 22, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, imagine how far that'll set you back. You know what I mean? If you start drinking heavy and popping perks and you become addicted to all that, when do you have time to sit back and analyze and dream and figure your goals out and do all this and that? You don't, because you so focused on, damn, I want to get high, damn, I want to get drunk, or shit, I ain't gonna lie, I need to go to the casino and put some money on this, or do this or do that. It's unhealthy, bro. It's unhealthy, and it starts to build an unhealthy tolerance of bad things in your mind. You know what I mean? So it negatively impacts and warps your mindset. You know what I mean? And we don't got time for that. We trying to elevate. We trying to be better. We trying to do all these good things. We don't got time for nothing unhealthy that's gonna set us back. Whether it's people, whether it's situations, whether it's addictions. We don't got time for none of that. We trying to go get it. We are trying to go get it. So anything that's gonna hold us back from that, and in this specific point, we're talking about addictions, we gonna X out and get it out of here. And the final mistake I see people around my age group making, more so the teenagers to early 20-year-olds making, is going to college with no plan. Like, I get it. I was in high school too. Everybody going to college, you hear about the parties, you hear about the girls or boys. You hear about the freedom, getting out of your parents' house, going in the dorms, frat parties, you know what I mean, all that college life stuff. But honestly, bro, and you really gotta, or sis, and you really gotta sit back and reflect on this. Like, am I built for this? Or what am I going to major in that's going to make sense to take this student loan out and pursue? You know what I mean? But people don't think like that. People are like, okay, I got to go to this university. All of my friends going here. It's $10,000. It's $10,000 a year. $5,000 a semester. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take these student loans out. They're gonna give it to me anyways. FAFSA gonna look out for me for this. But then you end up dropping out 2.5 years in. You know what I mean? Or God forbid, you end up finishing with a degree that you don't even use, which statistically speaking, more than 70% of people do. 70% of people in the last 6 years graduated with a degree that they haven't used in 10 years. You know what I mean? That's how it happens. You know what I'm saying? And that's the worst thing that you could do, because now you still got to pay these people back. You still, and I'm not, and certain people say, oh yeah, you know, go for the experience and all this good stuff, but no, I mean, bro, like, maybe I'm different, bro, but I'm not, because I done met a lot of people like me, a lot of people who just want to go get it, who want to be better. But you want to be the best you as soon as you can be. You never stop trying to be the best you. It's a consistent process. But you over here taking 3 years, 4 years, 2.5 years out of your life for something that you don't even want to pursue. And that's only, once again, that's only going to set you back to what you really, really want to pursue. I get your friends going. I get you feel like, oh, y'all might not talk to them. She or he going to college over here, or she or he going to college over there, or they doing this. But again, if it's not for you, it's not for you. It wasn't for me, and I didn't do it. Everything still worked out okay. Your friends still be there, or they won't. Who cares, for real? Like, really, who cares? But it doesn't make sense to just waste those years away. It doesn't. I've seen people do it. I've talked to people while they're in the middle of doing it. Oh, I think I want to drop out. Oh, I think, I don't know. But these are all people that are super excited about going. You know what I mean? So once again, if you don't see yourself benefiting from college after college, don't go. Don't go. It's a waste of time. We don't got time to waste time. We don't got time to waste time. But those are the 8 biggest mistakes I see people making in their 20s. If you made some of these, it's okay. I done made a lot of these. I ain't gonna lie. We not gonna dip and dab into the, you know, the specific ones that I have made. But once again, ain't nobody perfect, bro. This everybody first time being here. We gonna figure it out. And some people won't, but I will, and I'm sure y'all will too. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Until next time, be safe, be easy.